red lights go out, and the race gets underway with a really good start from the Westfield of Lewis Ward. He comes around the outside. He's past Hudson and Boyd, and he's trying to get Collingwood as well. By the time he gets to Richie's, he's on the outside. Whittle to Whittle, and it looks like Lewis Ward has done it in the Westfield to take the lead of the race. He was able to cling on yesterday, but didn't quite have the pace of the Eclipses. But Marcus, it looks like Lewis Ward is in front for now.
Yes, it is. And Paul Collingwood, I was speaking to him this morning, he was saying that the aero slows the car down in a straight line, but it's more than compensated by its speed in the corners. Coming up from the back there is 53, which is multiple champion Andy Hiley. He had the throttle cable break yesterday coming out, or the throttle pedal broke actually, coming out of Murray's, and was hit by the yellow Eclipse, which is Paul Boyd, its co-designer, with Clive Hudson, who's in the grey one, running third.
Boyd's got more damage, has he? Possibly. He's down to 6th already, so I'm not sure what's happened to Paul Boyd. I know he was the car, as you say, that hit highly, so he did have damage, but I don't know if he's got some more at the start of this race. We'll try and get a view of that. Rob Johnston's made a really good start because he's up with Clive Hudson.
Yeah, Lewis Ward's now there, so it's now Hudson ahead in the grey one of these, but he's not leading the race overall, but he's ahead of that group. Collingwood still out front. The Sienna's going well, both Sienna's in there, and then we've got the Mevs, and carving his way through to the back is Andy Hiley, who's had a difficult season with the Kronos based on the previous Tadek that he had. Tadek's originally built up in Keighley by Tom Clapham.
Lewis Ward's got back past Rob Johnston, but I think something must have happened then between, because there's Boyd's car. Has it got some more damage, or was that one from yesterday? It might be from yesterday,
it's just
actually.
all bandaged up, isn't it?
But he's lost some time at the start, and it's actually Collingwood that leads, isn't it? It's Hudson second. Lewis Ward has lost out after that good start. He's there in third place. Looks like Hiley's about 8th already, so that's been a good opening lap from him. Now Boyd is trying to get past Rob Johnston. Rob, who says this will be his final season of racing. Many drivers have said that in the past and have come back, so we'll see about that. But Rob Johnson, who's had plenty of success in the championship in the past.
Yeah, Collingwood now with in his tow is Clive Hudson. He's having a really great weekend, isn't he? Lewis Ward is third, Paul Boyd is fourth, Rob Johnson is fifth. Then it's the second of the Siennas, that's Anton Landon in the white one, and moving up behind him into Rich's Corner, named for Fred Riches, the farmer who used to own the land here. It is the Andy Hiley car up into 8th. He's overtaken Neil Turner, who's the Class B leader. Yeah,
and he's got a couple of Mevs between himself and his class rivals. Neil Turner, who's moved up to 2nd in the championship. Points scored within your classes, you can win the overall championship from any class. The Mevs have got themselves together. That's David Hughes versus Stuart Much, the boss of the company. But it is 76 David Hughes who is ahead. David, who has took a couple of wins this year within that class. They've got Andrew Hayward just behind in one of the oldest cars on the grid, the 1988 Silver Clubman with a Zetec engine. So he's second in Class B, but quite a way behind Neil Turner in the Caterham. You can just see up ahead. But it's a good battle at the front of Class C, the class which was won quite convincingly yesterday by Stuart Much, but it's David Hughes who's got the better of him early on.
Stuart Thompson, the reigning champion, done in 14th place, which is uncharacteristic.
Yeah, he hasn't had a great season, but then yesterday went really well, where he won the class.
Having a half spin very early in the race, and it's quite interesting because that first 4 in Class B finished pretty much nose to tail.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. They're 3 abreast at times. Stuart Thompson is a fairly local driver from Felixstowe. The Mevs have got themselves now pretty much side by side. Stuart Much on the outside in 7. On the inside is 76 David Hughes. But Hughes has held on. He's a bit sideways, though, so that could give Stuart Much the chance to get alongside Marcus.
Yeah, absolutely. And these cars really do deliver a good punch, don't they? They're curious-looking critters, but they do race well. Here comes Hiley up past Anton Landon. Landon will tuck in behind up the centre straight and maybe use the larger frontal area of the Kronos to pull back alongside. He does so in the Sienna. It's a question of last the late breakers. Hiley's on the inside, got the sort of slightly, his nose is slightly ahead. He keeps the place.
Lewis Ward, who we thought made a good start, has been given a 10-second penalty for a out of position slash jump start. So that is going to put him down the result. Paul Boyd has just set the fastest lap of the race and a new lap record, quicker than yesterday already for Paul Boyd. He didn't make such a good start. He's done a 2 minutes .53, which is over a second quicker than the leaders. Meanwhile, Stuart Much has now got the better of David Hughes down at the hairpin at Wilson. So that is, what, 9th position overall now for Stuart Much.
So this actually suggests that sub 2 minutes might just about be on in these cooler conditions today, with less blustery wind as well.
Yeah, it's a mighty lap time around here to do that, and slightly quicker than the Sports 1000 cars as well, I think, this weekend. So as they were at Canterville Park a few weeks ago, the Eclipses, fastest cars of the weekend. Big flash of flame out the back of the David Hughes car. They've still got Andrew Hayward behind, who's still second in Class B, but a long way behind Neil Turner, who's had a much better early laps of this race. He's, 5-6 seconds ahead of Andrew Hayward in Class B. Oh, David Hughes has run wide, and that's going to allow Hayward to get up the inside and get what is 10th position. Just behind is Nigel Brown, long-time competitor.
In his 38th season racing with the 750 Motor Club.
And pretty much in this type of racing as well.
20 odd in this car,
Yeah, that's really impressive, isn't it? Already we're getting driving standards flags. That's going out for 76 David Hughes. There's Lewis Ward, who's got the 10-second penalty. Boyd's gone past him, as we said, and he's almost caught the leaders. So the three Eclipses have got themselves together ahead of Lewis Ward, who's there in 4th place. It is Collingwood ahead, but only just. Clive Hudson's right in the tow now as they come up across the line to complete 3 laps. Can Clive Hudson challenge? He's on the inside as they come up towards Ritchie's.
Boyd, 1:59.63.
And Hudson's got the lead into Ritchie's. He's got past Collingwood. So, massive lap then for Paul Boyd. As Marcus says, a 1:59.63, which is an average speed of 89 miles per hour. And he's going up the inside of Paul Collingwood, who was leading a lap ago. He can't quite get there.
Yeah, the 2 Eclipses at either end with the enclosed engine bays. They both have Ford engines in them, but it's that Honda Type R type engine that's in Collingwood's in the middle. And Collingwood now, if anything, is perhaps delaying Paul Boyd and letting Hudson get away.
Yeah, it looks that way, doesn't it? Which is interesting. So obviously the damage to Boyd's car, they've patched it up well, and it's going even better than it went yesterday.
I think it was pretty much cosmetic. There was quite a clonk on the back of Hiley's Kronos, damaged the diffuser, etc. But say that throttle pedal broke very suddenly and left him with nothing.
There is Boyd then, the new lap record holder in the Sports Specials Championship. We come into the weekend as the record being a 2:02, so we are 2.5 seconds underneath that. So it was a 2:02.2 before with Paul Collingwood, but now we're on a 1:59.6, so we're 2.6 seconds underneath last year's lap record.
Absolutely fantastic. And here comes Paul Boyd. Paul Boyd in the yellow car designed the aero on these cars initially, and the driver of the lead car, which is Clive Hudson, there, he was the designer of the chassis and the suspension, etc. He was a former Cosworth designer, and these cars first appeared in 2012, as far as I remember, and have been developed ever since. They're superb looking and clearly very, very good dynamically.
Have they changed much for this year? Or?
I'm not sure that they have. I mean, they are. Why change a good thing?
It's just interesting how much faster they've suddenly gone this year, which there's no sort of real reason for that, potentially. So the gap's 1.5 seconds between Hudson and Boyd. Collingwood dropping away in 3rd. He's lacking pace at the moment. Ward is 4th. 5th is Hiley, who on that lap was the quickest of anybody. He's in the 2 minutes. Slightly slower lap for Hudson and Boyd when they were battling, I think, with Collingwood in the early laps. Here's a battle for Class B. This is a 2nd position in the class. 27 is Andrew Hayward. And like yesterday, Stuart Thompson coming stronger as the race goes on in 1, the champion from last year, in this MK Indy that won the championship in the hands of Matthew Booth. It won the championship in the hands of Stu Thompson last year as well. It's got a 2-litre Duratec engine, and Stu Thompson, the ex-Oval man, goes up the inside of Hayward to get 2nd place in the class. Can he stay there though? Hayward in the silver Clubman, one of the older cars, as I was saying earlier.
I thought I had a spin there, didn't you? There was lots of tyre squealing, and it didn't seem to end.
Yeah, we'll see if anyone drops down the timing screens at the end of the lap, or if we get a view of anybody off the circuit, but it's certainly a lot of tyres going. Here's David Hughes, and now he's got Nigel Brown behind him. And yeah, I think they were similar gap at the start of the lap, so that battle continues. And he's back with Stuart Much as well. So Nigel Brown, who's trying to fight past the driver from Birmingham. Brown can't quite get the move done there. in this silver fader with a Duratec engine, as Mark is saying, a car that's been in the championship for a long time with the same driver, with Nigel Brown always at the wheel. Here are the leaders, though. Paul Boyd has caught Clive Hudson. They're at Coram Curve, coming down towards Murray's. It's 15 Hudson then, with 17 Boyd behind. They turn left through Murray's, come up across the line. This is the completion of lap 5. We did 8 yesterday in the 15-minute time frame.
And we're going to do the same again because they're lapping just around the 2 minutes. It's 4 3/4 minutes to go. And it is Clive Hudson who leads the way in the number 15. They built 5 of these to start with. They had to build 5 to satisfy the regulations. It was originally they had to be roadable cars, and a better arrival at Wilson Hairpin, the Sear Pin as it's sometimes known, for Paul Boyd. And Hudson's been super competitive with his times. A couple of laps ago he did a 2:00.88, then a 2:00.84 for hundredths of a second between consecutive laps. But it looks like Boyd is giving a hard time now. Lewis Ward back in that 4th place, and he is only 7.9 seconds ahead of Andy Hiley. So Andy Hiley will move up at this point up into 4th place once that penalty is applied. Oh, and a big moment for the 2nd place car, Paul Boyd, going through. And I think that was it might well have been an Oggie's corner. I think it was. He suddenly got sideways. He's now run out over the curb onto the Bentley straight. And he's clearly giving it absolutely everything.
Yeah, here they come then, down towards Brundle and Nelson, the S's. And that gap has certainly gone out since that moment that Mark has just described by that mistake by Paul Boyd. They're in 2nd place. They come to the end, coming towards the end of lap 6 in Class B. It's still Neil Turner that leads, by the way, by 15 odd seconds now over Stuart Thompson. So a very different race in Class B to yesterday.
Yeah, it was close. It was very close to the finish yesterday. Thompson fighting his way back after the moment very early on at the hairpin. Very sideways coming out of it. Just had to back off out of it, catch the car. Here they go through again, 6 laps in, and that's Hudson from Boyd, 0.83 of a second, 15 from 17. Collingwood is Collingwood is dropping back. Where's Collingwood gone?
Okay, we heard that tyre squeal, didn't we? Whether that was... No, he's come through in 5th, or 2 minutes 10 for Collingwood. So he's obviously had a moment somewhere. He had a spin yesterday as well.
Yeah.
So for Paul Collingwood, just struggling to...
But Ward's 8.83 ahead of Hiley. So he's going away from Hiley. And that's quite interesting because... Oh, that's one of the Mevs.
Sylvia Much, I think. So, yeah, 0.8 of a second then between Hudson and Boyd at the start of the lap.
With one more after this.
So can Paul Boyd challenge on that final lap? Does seem to have a little bit more pace. But on the last lap, Hudson did a PB, a 2 minutes .22.
Yeah, he wants to rejoin that sub 2 minute club, doesn't he?
Absolutely. So through Augies, that's where Boyd made a mistake a lap ago. He takes a slightly tighter line through there than Hudson. And then onto the back straight, onto what's formerly known as the Revit straight, the Bentley straight as it is known now. And in the tow, Paul Boyd. This is what Clive Hudson was talking about yesterday. The slipstream so effective here.
That's right. You don't see artificial overtaking manoeuvres like or kit like DRS on these cars. It's all about slipstreaming, and great it is too. 15 from 17. They are so close. Clive Hudson in the grey car, Paul Boyd in the yellow one, and Boyd has to dab the brakes. Going down the inside there probably wasn't going to work, but there might be an attack at Murray's. If he knows it's going to be the last lap, though, he might keep his powder dry for one more route round this 3-mile circuit, the 300 circuit here at Snetterton.
Yeah, here they come then, up across the line, right in the slipstream is Paul Boyd, so he's catching all the way up towards Ritchie's. Hudson knows it, he pulls to the right-hand side of the circuit to defend from Boyd, who tries to come around the outside, which have to be pretty committed. It's nose to tail for 3rd as well now, because Lewis Ward has been caught by Andy Hiley, but we'll watch the battle for the lead, because Paul Boyd is on the inside line of Hudson, but Hudson breaks late enough into the Wilson hairpin to keep Paul Boyd at bay. But as we were saying yesterday, Marcus, there's so many opportunities to overtake on this circuit. Yeah,
he was slow out onto that straight again. Was Paul Boyd in the 17. So it's Hudson who is commanding this one at the moment, but what does Paul Boyd have up his sleeve beyond the fastest lap of the race?
Agostini hairpin, another opportunity to pass, but Clive Hudson knows it and takes a slightly tighter line. So Paul Boyd is running out of options, but there are still at least two.
His best
good
option is
chances.
to get Williams right, I think, and come out onto that Bentley straight.
Using all the roads, and up over the curbs out of Hamilton. He's late on the brakes into Oggies. The turn he had a mistake on a couple of laps ago.
Yeah, it's often easier to chase than to be chased, and that's why you have the sort of the lemming scenario where one goes off, the other does as well, because you're concentrating on the car in front.
One of the MEVs have just deconstructed in front of us. The bits of bodywork all over the circuit, but I think we just got a slippery surface flag out for that at the line. But here comes Boyd round the outside of Hudson into Brundle. There's the damage, but for Boyd, he can't quite get there. He had that big challenge in decorum on the previous lap. Maybe the last lap may be a bit of a bolder chance for Boyd. There's some traffic which I don't think they're quite going to get to, so they turn right through Coram. Hudson still in front, but if you can dive up the inside here on the last lap, but Boyd's run wide through Coram, and that's just cost him the opportunity, I think.
Just understeered a little, didn't he? And he was right on the limit. But he's lost a couple of lengths coming into Murray's for the last time, and up they come to the checkered flag for the second time this weekend. It's going to be Clive Hudson who wins the splendid sports special race, the FreakParts sports special race, from Paul Boyd by 72 hundredths of a second. In third is Andy Hiley. Fourth is Lewis Ward, who made that very, very rapid start. It got noticed by the judges.